Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Sophie and I'm a traditional artist living in the southwest of England. And this is a really exciting video because I'm going to be walking in Beatrix Potter's footsteps in the Lake District. So not only are you going to follow me on my journey to the Lake District and watch me do some plein air, at the end we're also going to do a little mini sketchbook tour of the pieces I created whilst I was there. And we're going to be making a final piece. The final piece is here in front of me. I'm not going to turn it around because I don't want to ruin it for you. I'm so happy with this final piece. I did actually already film this intro actually in the Lake District and it was really, really good. But my microphone wasn't working, which was really super annoying. But it means I can tell you what you're going to see in this video because this is editing me. So you are going to see some beautiful scenery as we go to Lake District. We're going to be going to Hilltop, which is Beatrix Potter's house. We're going to be going to Hawk's Head, which is this small, really picturesque village that where Beatrix Potter's husband, William Heelis, had his solicitor's office. Now, we were hoping to go to the gallery because his actual solicitor's office has now been turned into a Beatrix Potter gallery for her pieces of art. But unfortunately, it wasn't open when we went. However, when we went to Hilltop, we actually saw some of her original sketchbooks. I wasn't able to film inside the cottage, although there's lots of footage from the outside the cottage. But at the end, whilst I'm doing this final piece, because it was really inspired by Beatrix Potter's art style, I will be showing you a picture that I took of her sketchbook. And this is what this video is really. So I wanted to, at the start, to film a lot of plein air. Now, in reality, I went to the Lake District with my husband, my 2-year-old little boy, and my parents. So it was really difficult to actually get time to do art whilst I was there. I did create some pieces that you will see, but they were really rushed and they weren't my best work, to be honest. I'm still going to share it because, you know, I'm totally transparent on this channel, but I'm really pleased where you see the growth. So at the start, I was super, super tight, really self-conscious doing the plein air. So my first 2 plein air pieces are trash. They're not good at all. I'm quite happy with the 2 that I did at Hilltop. And I did some little animal illustrations whilst we were at a wildlife park, again, inspired by Beatrix Potter. But then coming back and actually looking at Beatrix Potter's art style, I bought a book all about her different art pieces, which I share in this video. And then doing my final piece based on her art style. Honestly, the difference between my first piece of art in this video to this final piece, you will see the growth. And it just shows actually when you do like an artist study into different artists and their styles, it can really show growth in your own style. It's not really, you wouldn't look at my piece and think, oh, that's a Beatrix Potter piece. So it's not that heavily inspired, but just taking elements of her art and work it into mine has really elevated. So enjoy this journey. There is one talking clip whilst I'm away in the Lake District, but the rest of it is just scenery, so you can chill, make a cup of tea, maybe do some of your own artwork whilst you're watching this video. Quite relaxing. And then, like I said, when we come back to the studio, we do a sketchbook tour and we paint this final piece. I can't wait to share it with you. So please enjoy. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of an update of how it's been going. I've been getting in a good amount of plein air. You will have seen that my first one that I did was in Bonus itself, which was on our first full day here. Not pleased with the sketch at all. I finished it off a little bit in the caravan, which you would have seen, but it was just kind of doing the first sketch in front of people, in front of my family, and also just kind of getting into the groove a little bit. I was a bit tight. I need to loosen up. I haven't done plein air in a while, so I just kind of needed to get back in the groove with it. I was a lot happier with the piece that I did in the private beach here at our campsite. Like better please, I like the composition and things like that. I've done some other little sketches in here which I'll show in the sketchbook tour at the end, and then today you won't be able to see it, but I did those sketches when I was in Hilltop, because we went to Hilltop today, but I'm going to fill these in this evening, so I'm going to paint these. I will show you when I do that, and then we on the way back to our campsite, we did like a scenic drive from Hawks Head to Ambleside, and I was really pleased that I managed to do this. So like before, I've been doing a line art, like I think I said at the start that I thought I was going to do. I was going to do a line art and then painting it in and colouring it in once I got back to accommodation, but I actually did all of this whilst I was there, sat on the front. So this is just using inktense blocks and my water brush. And I was actually inspired by Beatrix Potter herself. Oh, really loud aeroplane going over the top. I don't know if you can pick that up. Lost my train of thought then. Yeah, in Hilltop, in her house itself, I wasn't able to film it because you weren't allowed to film inside the house. But they had a couple of her sketchbooks in there, and they had the sketchbook showing some landscapes, and she was so loose, very little line work, whereas her animal illustrations are the kind of pen line work and then gone over with watercolour, but the line work is still quite visible, whereas in her landscapes, you could see in her sketchbook work, not in her like final pieces, but in her sketchbook, there was a faint pencil line, but then watercolour over the top, very, very loose, no meeting up at all, very suggestive, but got across the landscape beautifully. I'm really sad I couldn't show that to you, but it really inspired me to have a go and just do that inktense sketch on the front of the marina at Ambleside without any kind of line work or anything, and keep it quite loose. So that inspired me for that one, and I think that's where I'm going to take it next. I've tried a few different approaches with my kind of drawing so far. So the first couple, I used like a fine liner to do the drawing, and then went over in watercolour. When I was doing the sketching today, I used a Derwent brown pencil to do the sketching, which I'm now going to do in watercolour. But going forward, I'm going to try doing some landscapes more inspired by Beatrix Potter herself, and keep it super, super loose with not much line work at all. And to help me with that, I have got this beautiful book. I bought it from Hilltop itself, and it's quite cool because it's The Art of Beatrix Potter. Sketches, paintings and illustrations. So I'll probably try and film some clips of what's in the contents of this book to give you an idea if you did want to purchase it. But even in just the front cover, it's got some of her sketches there, and it was quite cool because I bought it from Hilltop. Bookmarking it, they gave you this sticker to put inside the book. I don't know if you can see it, so that you can say that you bought it from Hilltop. So I'm going to have a flick through here, see if I can get any inspiration while I'm still here in the Lake District. But I think I said to you before, once I get home, I do want to, as well as giving you a flick through of my sketchbook, because there are some sketches in there, like I said, I haven't shown me doing. I want to create a bigger piece based on what I've learned from Beatrix Potter whilst I've been here, seeing the landscape of Lake District. So hopefully this will inspire me some more. So this evening the plan is to paint in the two sketches that I did whilst I was at Hilltop. So I've got one of the house and the front of the house and the gardens, and then one looking over her land at the back, which is more rugged landscape. So I'm really enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying coming along for the ride. And yeah, we've only got a couple more days here. One of those days we're hoping to go to somewhere called Brockhole, which is kind of like a woodland area. So I'm hoping, and we're going there, just me, hubby, and little man. I'm hoping hubby will take little man off for a little bit so I can maybe do some sketching in the woodland, because that'll be a different type of landscape. Anyway, I will take you along. Next time I probably chat to you, we will be back in my studio. I don't think I'll get a chance to chat to you again before we leave, but just wanted to share my thoughts so far, how it's been progressing, gradually trying to get looser and looser, and using Beatrix Potter as my inspiration. So I'll check back in with you and give you my full thoughts and lowdown when we're back in the studio, where we can have a full flip through of the sketchbook and create at least one big piece, but I'm thinking maybe a big landscape piece and maybe a small animal illustration. I've got an idea. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay guys, so I'm back in my art studio from my lovely trip to the Lake District. I just want to share with you my sketchbook pieces that I created whilst I was there, and I really want to do a bigger piece now that we're back from the Lake District and I'm in my studio, and maybe another piece of Hilltop, specifically looking at Beatrix Potter's style, but we'll come to that in a minute. I just want to share with you my little sketchbook. So this is the sketchbook that I took with me. It is my travel sketchbook. It is Royal Talon's art creation little sketchbook. I must say, because I used to have a Strathmore watercolour A6 sketchbook in landscape. The paper did hold up better in that sketchbook than this one. This paper does tend to buckle, and there is some bleed through, which you'll see. However, I think the trade-off is that it's such a little handy size to put in your bag. I found it so easy traveling around. You would have seen that I had two different types of art supplies. I had my like big pack that I had when we were back at the accommodation. I had a smaller pack, like a little roll-up one, that I took with me in my smaller bag when we were out and about. I have a toddler. I have to take enough stuff for him. I don't need to have a big bag of art supplies for myself. So having this little sketchbook, I think even when we went to the wildlife park, I literally just took my Pilot V pen with the fountain nib and 2 brush pens. That's all I took, and I had this little sketchbook with me. I put it in like a little sandwich bag in my pocket so that it didn't get wet, because it was such a wet day. So yeah, really handy travel size, but just be aware of the paper. And this is Catnip and Prince by Millie with the stickers. So I purchased this one actually down in Cornwall. If you watched my Cornwall travel vlog from last year, you would have seen me do these first few pieces in here. But we'll start off here from the Lake District. So I've only done the Cornish pieces. I haven't used it since. So this is just a sticker that I picked up, and a little quick doodle of a little duck that I saw on the very first day, and some flowers that were in our campsite, but super quick, not that great. So this is the first bit of plein air that you saw me do on the edge of Windermere in Bowness. I was really tight. It's the first time that I had done plein air since the end of last year. When did we go to Cornwall? I think that was like 24th of September last year. I haven't done any plein air since then, so I was really tight. Again, back to being self-conscious, doing things in public. So it isn't that great. However, you know, I was glad that I kind of bit the bullet and got on with it and drew in public, which is a scary thing to do. So I'm glad that I kind of captured that. I wanted to capture, so it's not exactly how I saw it. The boat was on the other side in reality, but I wanted to get the top of the church, the little boat, one of the little boat sheds, and actually one of the boats that we went on later on in the week. So I'm quite pleased with how that turned out. So this one was down at the private marina of our campsite. It was such a beautiful place to stay. Like I said, we stayed in Bowness. It was at a Park Dean resort, and this was like the private marina on the edge of Windermere, and only the people of our campsite could access it. And there was geese. There was pretty much geese everywhere you looked on that shore of the Windermere, and lots of paddleboarders and canoeists around. So this was, just did the line art whilst we were down at the beach, because my mum and little boy was with me as well. So I had to do it quite quickly. And then when we got back to the accommodation, I just did like kind of a watercolour wash with a bit of neocolor over the top. So yeah, I'm quite pleased. I got more of the essence. I'm quite pleased with how the sky came out on this one. And these are just some little doodles that I did, inspired by obviously Beatrix Potter. Again, another sticker that we picked up during our stay, and some of the stickers that I got from on things that I purchased from the world of Beatrix Potter and things. I think when you go there, you've got to buy the merchandise. I was saying to my mum, actually, this Peter actually looks a little bit more like the rabbit, the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland than Peter Rabbit. I think something about his facial features reminds me a bit more of the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. But hey ho, I'm quite pleased with the shape of this little birdie here. But yeah, there's just a few quick illustrations. I was trying to use my fountain pen more. Obviously these are more saturated than what Beatrix Potter used to use. But yeah, just trying to use the fountain pen as the outline, similar to that of Beatrix. Trying to get in her style. This is a beloved Hilltop. It was such a great day. It was just me and my mum that went to Hilltop. The boys went off, so my dad, my husband and my little boy went off to Hawks Head. They went ahead of us actually, scouted out somewhere for lunch and things. If you didn't realise, Hawks Head was the place that we went to after Hilltop. That's where Beatrix's husband, William Heelis, had a solicitor's office there, and he later turned that office into a gallery for her original artwork. Unfortunately, I was really hoping to go whilst we were there, because I had previously went on our previous trip back in 2019, but it was shut, so I couldn't show you that, which I was a bit gutted about because I really wanted to take my mum there. But we did manage to go to Hilltop. Like I said, it was just me and my mum did some sketching as well. She's getting back into sketching. She did it as a child, so it was quite nice to do it together. So I did just do the line art one we were there. I just used, I think it was a Faber-Castell sepia pencil that I used just as the outline, and then when I came back to the accommodation, I used watercolour and a fine liner for this one. I think I did actually use the V-Pen fountain nib again on this one. So yeah, I'm really happy with the little cottage there. It's really sweet. I try not to do too many details because I try to remain loose, but you probably could go over and do a bit more. Now this was the unexpected one. So this is the more kind of rugged landscape that's actually behind Beatrix's cottage, and it actually is part of her land, but when she purchased Hilltop, she purchased it as a working farm, and she wanted a large part of it to remain as a working farm. So although she donated the house and a lot of her land to the National Trust, it was on the provision that actually parts remained as working farms, because she bought up a lot of the land in the Lake District to preserve it and to preserve it for the farmers and their legacies. So this is actually all private land and part of the Hilltop over the fence where the working part of the dairy farm is. You can't go in there because that is still a working farm, but it's really rugged landscape. I really enjoy it. I think I said before in a lot of my vlogs, my husband's from Scotland. We spent our honeymoon traveling around Scotland. Scotland's very dear to our heart. And you can see that you're almost on the edge of Scotland up there in Cumbria. You can start seeing that rugged landscape coming in like you see in the Highlands. So it always makes me feel like I'm at home. And this piece was actually, I did the line work whilst I was at Hilltop. I don't think I filmed that bit, but I did do the line work whilst I was there. But this is done exclusively using Ecoline brush markers. No watercolours or anything, so definitely not in the style of Beatrix Potter, but I just wanted to give it a go. Although, sorry, the gate is actually beige Posca, but everything else is Ecolines. And although this hill looks a little bit like a volcano, I'm really pleased with the depth and the shading that I was able to get purely just from the brush markers. Really pleased. Let me just reach behind me and get you the set that I use out of my bag that is still unpacked on the floor of my studio. We have only been back a few days. So this is the set that I have. So I have this brush pen set from Ecoline, and I also have the set of greys and one individual pink pen. But for this page, I only used this set of pens. So it's just these colours that was used. So nothing else. And I just found I hadn't actually tried blending them before, and I'm just really pleased, like I said, with the depth I was able to get in the trees and the hedge there. I actually thought it was really effective, and actually it ends up being my favourite spread of the trip. There's me going and trying to do a watercolour like Beatrix. I ended up loving the Ecoline markers. And then this was done completely plein air. So this was just using my Inktense blocks. No pencil sketch or line work beforehand, going right in with Inktense blocks. Using them neat, and then using my water pen to add water to it. You will see there is some bleed through from the other pages, so like I said, you do get bleed through, unfortunately, which has kind of muddied it a little bit. But again, it's not the most detailed, but I was trying to remain loose, and I will show you in a moment. I was talking to you in one of my previous talking pieces. I was talking about that we saw a sketchbook at Hilltop from Beatrix that I wasn't able to film because you weren't allowed to film, but I'm going to show you the picture of that in a minute, out of Beatrix's actual sketchbook, and she's so loose. So I was trying to recreate that and remain really loose, but most of all, I was pleased that I was actually able to do a finished spread whilst on location. none of this was taken back and done at the caravan. This was all done at Ambleside, on the edge of Windermere, in beautiful sunshine, amazing weather, and we just sat there, and yeah, I was really, really pleased actually. Those Inktense blocks are really good for quick coverage. And then lastly was the wet day at the wildlife park. Unfortunately, a lot of the animals didn't want to come out either. My poor little boy, he had a little bag of food that he wanted to feed animals. We did manage to coax a little goat out to try and take his food because he really wanted to feed the animals, but a lot of them weren't having it, and I can't really blame them. Like I said, all I took was my V pen with the fountain nib, a light grey brush pen and a pink brush pen, just for some highlights. And actually, considering I was sat in the soft play and doing it from the photos that I had already taken and the leaflet for the park, it's not too bad. I really love my little kookaburra, and this hawk here. My red pandas did not turn out great. So yeah, my little flamingo and my little antelope there. So yeah, really pleased with little spread. Just a quick little doodle. I thought, well, whilst I'm sat in soft play, I might as well make myself busy. My husband was trailing around after our toddler on the slides, and I thought, I'm just going to sit here and do a little doodle. But we didn't have very long because it was so bad weather. Everyone then came in the soft play, so we quickly left. But yeah, so that's the little spread. So not too many, but considering I was on holiday with my parents, my husband and my little boy, I'm actually not too disappointed with what I managed to get done. And like I said, doing stuff plein air. So now I want to do another big piece. When I say big piece, I just mean like a sheet of A4, but just bigger than this obviously little sketchbook, because you are limited what you can do. So I was thinking of maybe doing another piece based on Hilltop, but of a different view. Let me just get my iPad here so I can show you what I'm thinking. Oh, first of all, let me show you. So this is, I'm trying to angle it because it's on my iPad, but so this is the sketchbook that was open in a case, so it's through glass. So you're seeing it on my iPad, and then the picture was taken through glass as well. But this is the original sketchbook of Beatrix Potter, and this is her artwork. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but there's pencil outline. So unlike her animal illustrations, for the landscape she used pencil as the outline, and she kept it so loose, like there's not much detail going on there, and I just think it's really inspirational. And how in the background she's obviously kept it really light to give a sense of perspective, but yet there's just enough to give that full scenery. So I really want to have a go at doing things more in her style. That's another one of her pieces. That was a bit bigger piece that was on the wall, so a bit more finished. But this was, I like looking at people's sketchbooks because I think it gives a real sense of their art style. So this was obviously the front of the house. These are the photos that I took whilst I was there. But then you went into the back garden. So obviously this is the basis what Mr. McGregor's garden was like. So you have this little cottage garden. That's what I was saying about like the more rugged landscape at the back. And over this wall is the private area that you're not allowed in because that's the working farm. So this is the view of the back of the house. And this is what I'm thinking of trying to do, because I really like the shape of the roofs. And it reminds me of the roofs that were in that sketchbook piece by her. But also dotted around the garden with these little, you know, the old watering can, old plant pots. There was also like this wheelbarrow with some wood in it. And I was thinking of doing this outline with the wall here and this little beehive, and obviously the vines like here. But then around here making more features of these and adding these in. To make it a bit more whimsical, a bit more kind of like it could have been took out of one of the pages of, I don't know, like Peter Rabbit or something. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. And then, like I said, keeping it completely loose like her sketchbook piece. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to be doing it on, it's not an expensive pad. It's just this Faber-Castell watercolour pad, 140 GSM A4 sheet, pad. So I'm going to have a go at doing it on this. So I'm going to do the pencil outline like Beatrix and then go over with a really light wash. I'm going to try not and then go in with other like pencils and crayons as this, which is what I tend to do as a mixed media artist. I just can't help myself. I'm going to try and keep it loose because this does look unfinished, but I like the effect of it. I like how subtle it is, so that's what I want to try and do. So yeah, to finish off this vlog, I thought it'd be quite nice to do a little piece together. So yeah, that's what I'll do now. I'll put some more relaxing music on and we can do this together before I close out the vlog.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Afternoon, we lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
So here it is, my final piece, all finished. I really love how this one turned out. I have managed to resist the urge of going in with some pencils and neocolors and crayons because that's my normal style with mixed media. I tend to always go over the top with other things, but so this was just a pencil outline with watercolor over the top, inspired by Beatrix Potter. And I am pretty pleased with how it turned out. So this is a back view of Hilltop, Beatrix Potter's house, with the gardens. We've got all the cabbage leaves, and we've got that watering can and a wheelbarrow. We've got some pots dotted around. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. I'm actually decided to gift it to my mum for her birthday next month, because I went to Hilltop with my mum, and she's a massive Beatrix Potter fan. So I think I'm going to gift the original to her, but I am going to take copies of it because I think I will introduce it to my shop as a print. I'm going to give it a go, see if anyone would like a print of Hilltop or just a country cottage in general, because it could be anywhere really. So yes, I'm going to introduce this to my shop in the next shop update. The shop update will be coming. I haven't set an actual date yet, but it'll be sometime in July. I'm going to be launching some notepads. The notepads that I originally did for the shop in my physical shop, I'm now also going to be bringing to Etsy. So it'll be largely notebooks, but there will be this print as well. Possibly another print coming, because I think I did mention earlier in this video that I've got an idea for a character that I wanted to do. I'm tending to stay away from characters now and just focus on more realistic drawings of animals and things, but I have got a little idea. I just want to give it a go. So maybe I'll do that in a studio vlog, and if it's successful, it will also come to the shop update. But definitely this print will be coming to the shop update in July, and there will also be the notebooks. I think 3 different notebook designs, maybe 4. We'll see. So stay tuned. If you want to know when that goes live, please follow me on Instagram, because I will be doing a countdown on there and launching it with sneak peeks of the product. So please go and follow me on Instagram. All my links will be down in the description. But thank you for joining me on these travels around the Lake District and back again and looking at the art of Beatrix Potter. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. God bless. Love you.